I see some messages on the chat. I hope you're able to hear me. We are waiting for people to join. We will start the webinar in 5 minutes time.
Well, we have 2 minutes to start, and actually we have 500 plus registrations. Right now I can see 55 participants, so I'm expecting more people to join in. So do you think we should start sharp at 3?
No, Manish, I think we should give like a couple of minutes extra.
Yeah.
We can start 2 past or 3 past 3, like 2-3 minutes extra.
Abhinav, let's wait for 2 more minutes and then probably we can start.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I can see slowly people are trickling in. So
yeah.
So to all the participants who have joined, I think we'll wait for 2 or 3 more minutes just to give people enough time to join, and then we'll start the presentation.
Abhinav, do you want to share your screen, your slide version, or otherwise I will keep changing the slides once you tell me also, whatever is comfortable to you.
No, I'll share Mandar.
Yeah, so should I stop sharing right now so that you can take over?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Well, I think we can start now.
Yes, Manish.
Should I, Abhinav? Should I, Mandar?
Yeah. Abhinav
Okay.
is okay, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Okay, so let's start. So a very good afternoon and good evening to everyone, depending on where you have joined us from. I am Manish Chunyal, Senior Marketing Manager for Elsevier South Asia team, and I will be your host for this webinar today. So thank you for joining us for this webinar, Reax's Predictive Retrosynthesis Speed Matters, brought to you by Elsevier South Asia team. Today's session is full of information on how to get the rules of chemistry into the machine, prioritizing rules, filtering out infeasible reactions, efficient search, and defining the building blocks. I would also like to cover a few housekeeping rules. Everyone should be watching in the listen only mode, but if you do see a microphone icon on your screen, please be sure to keep yourself on mute. There will be one presentation and a Q&A session, and then plenty of time for your questions. Your comments and questions are warmly welcomed, and you can use the question box to submit your questions at any time. We will save all of your questions until our Q&A session after the talks. Today's webinar is being recorded, and we will share a link with you after the event is complete. We have with us as our guest speakers and our experts, Dr. Abhinav Kumar and Dr. Mandar Bodas. Dr. Abhinav Kumar is a part of Reax's product development team with a focus on bringing innovative products to the market. He earned a doctorate in pharmaceutical science from King's College London. He has published more than 10 papers in high-impact peer-reviewed journals, supervised 2 PhD students and more than 10 master students' thesis work. Dr. Kumar has won multiple Young Scientist awards, including Pat Bernal New Investigator Award for Drug Delivery to Lungs in 2014. A warm welcome to you, Dr. Kumar. We also have with us Dr. Mandar Bodas. Dr. Bodas is a part of Reax's customer success team with intensive experience in the field of organic chemistry. He earned his doctorate in chemistry from National Chemical Laboratory, NCL, Pune, India, and did postdoctoral research in Leuben Group at University of Montreal. Dr. Bodas has more than a decade of working experience in pharmaceutical companies, including BMS and Ranbaxy, and leading multiple design and synthesis of new molecular entities. So welcome, Dr. Bodas.
Thanks.
And before we start the presentations, I think it would be good to know about our audience as well. So with your due permission, speakers, may I run a quick poll
Sure.
to understand the audience breakup, if that's fine with you?
Perfect.
Yep. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm sharing the poll with you. The poll is there on your screens now. I hope you can see it. You have 30 seconds to answer this poll. And now I'll share the results. So I can clearly see that we have a diverse group over here that comprises of researchers and faculty members. We have some HODs as well. So clearly we have a very good representation from the entire spectrum of research stakeholders that we have in an institution. And I'm confident that through this webinar, we will be able to address all the questions and queries that our audience has. So on this note, and at this time now, I would like to hand over the floor to Dr. Kumar to start the presentation. So over to you, Dr. Kumar.
Thank you, Manish. Save on bandwidth, I'm going to switch off my video if that's all right with everyone. And all right. So the agenda for this meeting is we'll talk through the science behind the AI-powered Reaxys retrosynthesis, followed by demonstration of the retrosynthesis tool itself with molecules of interest, a sneak preview of what is coming next, and then discussions on, your answering your Q&A and discussing what the benefits, limitation of AI tools are. Before we begin, I think this was communicated earlier as well. If you want to know how to make your molecule, or if you want to know what route Reaxys retrosynthesis will propose for your molecule, please provide a smile string in the chat box or Q&A box. We will try to run it. We'll try and run it and hopefully use that for live demo. If we are unable to do it, please provide your email address along with the smile string. If we are unable to answer or provide the route for your molecule, then Mandar or someone from our team will definitely reach out to you to provide you with the route. Just to make sure that in case for string, whatever structure you draw on Reaxys, on Marvin.js, hit the save button, use this drop down, choose smiles, and that's your smile string for this molecule. I'm sure everyone knows this, but this is just a quick recap of how you can get smile string from your structure. Right, let's begin. I hope you submit a few structures and which we can use during the demonstration purposes. Generally in research and development, the idea is to make new molecules for either to target a specific disease or for a specific application, such as waterproof coating for wood surfaces, etc. If we take drug discovery as an example, and this, there are two essential questions that we have to answer, which are simple to think of, like what to make, and then that comes the next question, how to make it. And this how to make it part is where synthesis planning and execution is involved. And this takes both time, expertise, and knowledge are required for this. And this is a time-consuming process. There's a high degree of failure rate involved. So a question that is necessary to ask is that, can data-driven approaches improve the synthesis planning process? So we think we can. And if we think about it, how do you go about synthesizing a novel substance today? If you have a novel substance today, generally, because it's novel, there's no synthesis route for it. You adjust your search strategy by doing substructure search, or you break down this molecule manually into subcomponents and look for an answer for synthesizing those subcomponents. Reaxys is the best tool to do your reaction searching, and it can help you answer these questions today, but it is time consuming and requires experience. The experience that this is equivalent to is having a paper road atlas to go from point A to point B. You can use an atlas, but you have to go from one page to another and keep track of it. Would it not be better if we could move from paper atlas to something like GPS, where you enter your destination that you want to get to and just click find route? That is the concept of predictive retrosynthesis as well, where you are able to enter a molecule and you hit synthesize, and hopefully you get the route or routes to be able to synthesize that molecule. The idea of computer-aided synthesis planning is not new. This idea originated with the work of Nobel Prize winner E.J. Corey in the late 1960s. And the idea was really amazing because he was like, oh, we can write down all the rules of chemistry and use computers to predict how to make things. It was a great idea, but it was an idea before its time because there were two essential roadblocks. One, the computer hardware was not developed enough to tackle the scale of the challenge. These days, you have GPUs, which you can buy for a couple of $1,000, which have got far more computing power than what your phone has far more computing power than what E.J. Khoury had in the best computer available at that time. And second, when Khoury did his work, there were not many reactions published. And, it was okay to write down the rules manually. However, today, the reaction and knowledge, we are talking millions and millions of reactions. And there are more new publications coming out every day. So this approach of writing down all the chemical knowledge cannot work today. So these are the two challenges that were faced. So what we did was we thought that, okay, we have partnered with Marvin Ziegler and Mark Waller and his company called Pending AI. This work was published in Nature. And when you try to apply artificial intelligence and data science, first step is really need high quality and vast data set to start with. Then you do your data science component, which is quite time consuming. You have to carry out various tasks. And once you have done the data science component, you build your model and then you deploy your model. If we look at this data science component, this is key. What we did with Pending AI is you have a published reaction. And you have a published reaction. First step you do is you clean the reaction. You standardize it, you duplicate it, you take the reactants and the product into account. You remove solvents, catalyst, yield information, or reaction condition information, etc. Once you have done this reaction cleaning, then what you do is you do atom mapping to identify which atom reacted where to form the product. And once you have done the atom mapping, you extract the shell of the reaction, which is called template extraction. So this is the reaction shell where the reaction is happening to identify what is the reaction core. Now you have the template, and then you use this template to train your neural networks. So when you have trained your neural network, how this technology works is Mark calls it 3NMCTS, which stands for 3 neural networks coupled with Monte Carlo tree search. This is similar technology that was used by AlphaGo or Google in the game of Go. There's a very nice documentary about it called AlphaGo on Netflix and on YouTube, if you're interested to know more about the technology. Given a target molecule, what the neural network does is it identifies the most probable disconnection. When it has identified the most probable disconnection, it applies a retrosynthetic rule at this disconnection and creates these starting materials. If you break it here, you can have multiple different starting materials. Then what it does is it applies an in-scope filter, which it assesses the feasibility that if you combine these two starting materials, what is the probability of obtaining the target molecule? And this feasibility assessment, it uses something called an in-scope filter. It is quite important because this is what helps you get rid of incorrect suggestions. And this good feasibility assessment requires that this is trained on both positive and negative reactions data. Once you have this target molecule, then you repeat or you iterate this step 1, 2, and 3 until you break this down into materials that are commercially available, or if the time budget is exhausted. So you break this down further, and you will break it down further unless you reach a stage where, okay, yes, I know I can buy this, and that's where it stops. So this is, in a nutshell, this is how 3N MCTS works. So at a high level, Pending AI, this is the paper. Pending AI, we work with Pending AI to 15 million, like these are clean after having gone through that whole cleaning process, 15 million single step organic reactions, from which approximately 400,000 reaction rules are extracted. These rules are set in these 3N MCTS so that when you have a target molecule, it gives you a scientifically robust route suggestion. There was an explosion when this paper came out. There was an explosion of research in using this technology, and because it combines the best-in-class reactions data with this incredible data science that Mark and Marvin have done, and it is delivered in a very easy-to-use interface that you will see shortly. Over to you, Mandar.
Yes, Abhinav. So I will just share my screen. So as Abhinav has demonstrated the science behind the predictive retrosynthesis tool, I will take you through the live tool as well. But before that, I just want to show that these are the 4 molecules we have chosen as the novel molecule. And I will take a couple of them to showcase that in the demo. And also I will take you through all those features and parameters on which the retrosynthesis tool has been developed. And at the same time, these parameters and features, how they will be enabling you to arrive at the decision points or the predictions for the of the proposed route for your molecules. Before I go into the live demo, I will like also to showcase a couple of molecules which already we have ran and have actually finalized the proposed route, which actually will work, or you can execute that in the lab. And these are a couple of interesting molecules. So if you are able to see my slide, this example is from the recently revealed structure of the anti-COVID oral molecule by Pfizer, which is PF07321332. And if you are able to see the screen, this is the predicted route, which is a 3, 4, 5, 6 steps synthesis route predicted by our retrosynthesis, reaccess retrosynthesis there. And if you see at the bottom, it starts from the commercial level starting materials, and when you go up till the target molecules, it gives you the predictions. So I have also tagged here, and I'm not going into much of details right now, but if you see, these are acid-amine couplings, Boc protection, deprotection. So if you are able to see, the retrosynthesis tool also takes into the account the protection, deprotection strategies if your starting materials are commercially available there. If you see on the different color boxes as well, these boxes, and I will as I take you to the live tool, I will explain it a little bit more, but these are different color boxes, and based on the color of the boxes, your starting materials or the building blocks you can procure it commercially as well. So this is one such molecule which I ran, and we have also published on LinkedIn as well, this particular route. And if you see on one more molecule, which was again the structure was revealed recently in the Chemical Engineering News by Alel Ali. This is GLP-1R, GLP molecule agonist, which was designed to decrease oral blood glucose. And if you see, This is again a 7-step synthetic route, quite robust in nature. And I have also captured, as earlier, the Reaxys reaction IDs. So these are the reaction IDs of the reactions, which are for published reactions in Reaxys. So yes.
Mandar, just sorry for interrupting in between. A lot of participants are saying that they are not able to view your screen. So
I will reshare it.
Yeah, I just want to check with Abhinav. Abhinav, are you able to see his screen?
I was, but Mandar, please reshare.
I am resharing it.
Okay.
Are you able to do that now?
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyhow, I will, those who have missed on to seeing my screen of these two particular molecules, I am going to stop share this presentation, and I will take you to the live demo where you will be able to experience or see how the actual product works as well. And then I will come back to the presentation where I will be able to showcase the sneak preview later on, and what are the integrations which are upcoming in Reaxys of this retrosynthesis tool. So I'll just stop share, and I will reshare the screen to take you live to the tool as well. So as you are able to see my screen right now, this tool is in isolations, and you have to visit this demo.retrosynthesis reaxys.com. Type this URL in any browser there, and you will be you will actually get you will have this landing page to access for it. One can actually have their synthesis projects saved as many as molecules they keep running it, so that they can review it at their end anytime later as well. Also, if you see, I was able to receive this 2 molecules there, and I have ran a particular molecule in different set or different parameters, and I will explain you that as well. And we can come back to this the smiles which was provided to me, the prediction later on for this one. So one can actually draw the target substance by clicking it here, and it's very simple there. So we have a Marvin JS drawing tool there, where you can actually either draw a structure, or if you want to import a structure from your various, there are options, and one such option is the smiles options. So these are various options here. One can actually click on those and then import those structures. So I can even paste this smile string. What you can see here, I can add, and you will be able to see the structures. And this is erythromycin, which actually is a known antibiotic, which was actually provided by Mr. Veera. And once you have drawn the structure, you hit synthesis button, and it will take you, and it keep running there. So before I go to the demonstration of the predicted routes of the molecules which I shared in my presentation earlier, the 4 molecules, I will like to take you to the various parameters here. So if you see on the right hand side screen, first is the length and depth of the synthesis plans. So by default, there are 2 options there. One is full synthesis plan, and the other is last step only. So the full synthesis plan, you will have default synthesis plans as 20, but you can go up to 100. This option of last step only is really helpful when you will see no results for a molecule of your choice or of your interest there, because it might be a complex natural product, or it might be a complex structure in itself there. As this tool, and Abhinav will take you to the development part of the retrosynthesis tool at the end of this presentation, you will be able to understand what we mean by those parameters as well. Once you actually choose what you want it here, then you have another parameter to play with, is the diversity of synthesis plan. So by default, the tool has been set to the diversity of 3, which means that the reaction step to occur is 3 times. So if the route for a particular molecule, there are some 10 routes predicted. So a particular reaction for formation of particular intermediate will get repeated in 3 of those 10 routes. Same way, the building blocks will get repeated 3 times in those 3 out of 10 routes there. So this is, you can say, a moderate or lower moderate diversity. But if you want a very high diversity, you can choose that to 1, so that there will not be any repetition of either the reaction step or the building block in itself. So this is the highest diversity, and you have the other option, you can go up to 10, so that it is the lowest diversity there. Then you have another parameter of playing with the processing time, the computing time, you can say, and the default setting is up to 10 minutes. What we generally have observed, even for moderately complex molecules, we are able to get the predictions within 5 to 7 minutes max. And most of the predictions are coming in 3 to 5 minutes. And as you might have seen the landing page there, the molecules which were proposed or the SMILE strings which were shared with me, like the erythromycin structure or anything, the other compound, the root was able to provide you the options or the predictions as well. Then you have another parameter to play with is the select building block libraries. And if you see in our region, the Indian region or the Asian regions, we are cost conscious there, and we will certainly like to have our synthesis designed and being executed at lower cost. So for that, if you see, we have given two different options for the building blocks or the starting material to choose from. So you can check or uncheck the other options and select the building blocks which are actually costing you $500 per gram or $200 per gram. So these are the right now two options there. If you are in a hurry and you want to start your synthesis of the predicted route as quickly as possible, then you have the option of this building blocks from tier 1 supplier, which will reach you within a weeks of time. Then apart from this, we have eMolecules, Lab Network, and Sigma Aldrich. And then over and above that, we have our own Reaxys common substrates, which are coming from the single step 15 million reactions, which Abhinav was mentioning there, from our own Reaxys database there. So you have so many options where one can actually have this, their building blocks or the starting material to choose from. Over and above this, if you are from an industry or from a top universities and you have immense number of compounds as your intermediate synthesized, and you have immense amount of data with you in terms of ELN or in terms of those molecules which you wish to run as a starting materials or as your building blocks, then we at Reaxys Retrosynthesis, we actually can have these custom building blocks made, integrate we can integrate that into this tool, and they can be used as your building blocks or starting material as well. So you practically work with your own intermediates as the starting materials for the synthesis you choose to have predicted by this predicted route. So you have practically 4 parameters there right now. So one is the length and depth of synthesis, second is the diversity of synthesis plans, third is the processing time, and fourth is the building block libraries. So these are the 4 clear options, and you have multiple options to import your structures, or you can draw this particular structure in the drawing Marvin.js tool itself. So once you do that, you hit synthesize button. This particular tool will take you and run this. You will see the Flask icon there, as you were able to see that, and then you will be able to see the particular molecule which you actually had submitted for the retrosynthesis. Then you will see how many plants or the parameters what you have run for that. You also will see the diversity you choose. You also will see what the building blocks or the starting materials are coming from there. So if you see here is $200 per gram or less. Then you have lab networks, eMolecules, tier 1 suppliers, Reaxys common substrates, and so on and so forth. And there are 20 number of routes suggested. Then this is the erythromycin structures for which 3 routes are selected. I will take it later, but before that, I will just show you the 4 compounds which I had actually captured that, which were novel enough, and for which the predicted route I already have ran before coming into this webinar. So if you click on this, let's choose one of this molecule. And if you right click on that and take you to the another tab. And if you see here, there are 3 different routes as the route has selected. You have the building blocks in front of you. Then you have the route confidence score, which gets rank ordered there. You have the number of steps for each route. And then you have the option to view them as a tree view or table view. You can also download this comprehensive, this information of multiple routes altogether as and print it or export it as a PDF there. If you wish to have all the routes predicted in one page there. You also, then if you choose to select one of this, say if you want to view it is at preview. Then if you see here, we see the project number 14 and the route 1 which we have selected. So this preview will take you to the way the retrosynthesis predictions happens. So it is always from bottom to top, it goes there. And now if you see here, as I was also showing in the presentation mode, the Pfizer molecule and the Eli Lilly molecule, you see the color coding of the boxes. So now this color coding represents, these are the commercial static materials. They can be either in green or the orange boxes. And if you left click on them, you will be able to see from where you can procure this particular building blocks or the starting materials here. So these are from the e-molecules. They are Reaxys common substrates. They are from tier 1 suppliers and $200 per gram or $500 per gram also. So and then this goes up and up to the target molecule. Then you can also click on this reaction, reaction 1, or you can say the first step there, and you can click on right click on it to take it to another tab to show it as a Reaxys examples. Now once we do that, it will take you, and I will go back to this Reaxys examples later, but at the same time, I will like to show you the table view as well. And I personally like to see this as a table view more because this happens as a more of a reaction mode. So you see each and every step as a reaction in itself in front of you. So if you see the first step here is the 5-bromo isoquinolinone, which gets reacted with the Boc hydrazine. And you get the bromo displays to have the Boc hydrazine there. And in front of you, you have the step confidence score also. So for every step, you have a step confidence score, and for every route, you have a route confidence score as well, which I will take you to backwards. Then the next step, if you see here, the Boc hydrazine actually gets deprotected. So you have the deprotection step coming in there. And then the pyrazole formation happens with the proper reagent there. Once the pyrazole is formed, you just hydrolyze the ester to the acid and do the amide formation, acid-amine coupling there for the 4-amino pyridine, 2-trifluoropyridine there. So this is how very simple to make this particular compound. And I have already clicked this here, which is Reaxys example there. And now if you see, once you have clicked the Reaxys example to show, in a screen, you will see 25 different options for that particular predicted step there in front of you. So there are 25 total options in front of you, which are again rank ordered based on the reaction similarity score. What is this reaction similarity score? This is again the score obtained after the atom mapping. So if you have seen that in Abhinav's presentation there, he was talking about we do that atom mapping there, and the atom mapping trains this particular RT to understand how closest those building blocks are to the one which were in the predicted step. So if you look at this predicted step, we have the 5-bromo isoquinolinone and Boc hydrazine. Similarly, the Boc hydrazine stays there, but instead of the 5-bromo isoquinolinone, we have the quinazoline there. So because of that, the reaction similarity score goes down there. But the actual reaction happens at this bromo place, displacement of the bromo with the Boc hydrazine, and there you can easily go and check that in the Reaxys. So once you click that, the tool will take you to the Reaxys page there, and you can see the reaction itself, which you can run at your end directly. You have the actual reference. This is from a patent there, and you have the experimental procedure in front of you. So you can directly go to the lab and run that particular reactions there. Right now, if you see, to arrive at this particular option to see the published similar reactions in Reaxys, we have to do 3 to 4 clicks there. But when I will show you the sneak preview, when I will take you through the presentation of the sneak preview, you will understand that once this tool gets integrated by end of June or first week of July, You do not have to do so many clicks, and in one window itself, you will be able to see all these options there in front of you. So this was for the first step there. Similarly, if you see here, the second step example, you just click on the right click there, and it will take you to the similar reactions which are published in reactions there. And you have the same reaction similarity scores were there. And similarly, you click on the reactions example where you will see the actual experiment published in the literature there. Right, and you see this one, and you have the location, the patent there. You can click the full text, and it will take you to the linking page of the patent, and you can click on the patent and get the procedures if you wish to have. So this is one of the molecules, and as I was saying, this is a step confidence score, and this is the route confidence. So as we were saying, seeing 3 different routes. So for every route, you have the route confidence score there. So I will take you through another project. So before going into the published route, I will like to open this particular thing. I'm not sure, because I have not analyzed as a chemist what of those out of these 20 routes, which one is the robust one, which you can actually go and execute in the lab. So for just to showcase you, I will be able to showcase. And if you see now, there is in one step only, because this particular starting material or the building blocks is commercially available, and the tool is trained to stop at the prediction if the starting material or the building block is commercially available. And that is why for all these 20 options, you are mostly seeing a one step. There are other options with 2 steps and 3 steps as well. And there is a 9-step option as well. So if you see the confidence, the route confidence score is rank ordered again there. So 1 being the maximum there, and almost all the routes predicted are quite robust in nature. So let's click on this just to see how the route looks. And I'm not right now going in details to analyze the route, but there here in itself, even though you have at your leverage the AI and machine learning in front to actually propose the route or predict the steps for you, but there is a chemist intervention required. The chemist mind is required to analyze if the route proposed are good enough to execute in the lab or not. So this is a starting material where the phenol is benzyl protected there with the help of benzyl bromide, and then there is another again. It gets deprotected, and you have to select it to deprotect it. One is the phenolic OH over the aliphatic OH. So you can easily do that. Once you do that, you do the methyl protection. So you do the O-methoxy there. And once you have the O-methoxy form, then you then again it has shown the deprotection of the methoxy, followed by the debenzylation there. So I am not sure. I have to again analyze this, but you have the step confidence score, and as I showed earlier, you can click on the reactions examples and see the synthesis process also, the actual published experiments in the reactions as well. So this is for the one of the compounds you have shared the SMILE string with. Another was the erythromycin. Again, it is a known structure. I'm not sure it is erythromycin. Sorry for the name, wrong nomenclature maybe. So if you see here, there are again number of steps are 1 only, because the starting materials is commercially available there, and that's why you see. So if you want to go and find out deeper predictions there, so you can actually click on the tree view there, and you can again submit that to resynthesis of that particular intermediate, which is commercial level. And if you see, both are commercial level. You can have this product as a commercial level and start the building block as well. So you can click on left click on that, and you can ask the tool to synthesize that for you, and it will be in the drawing window there, and you can submit that for the synthesis again to synthesize this particular intermediate if you wish to do that as well, right? And just one more synthesis I will just showcase you. These are more predicted routes here. So number of routes are 5. So if you click on this, you have the route confidence score there. You have the number of steps there. And if you see here, one of the predicted route is just in 3 steps there. So I will just take you to that particular choice where we have only 3 steps where the prediction tool has predicted. So this starts from the pyrazide acid chloride. You do the amide formation on the amine there. And then after that, you do the imidoxazine formation and submit react with the acid to form the oxide diazoles there. So it's quite simple nature. You have, again, similarly, you have the Reaxys examples, similar examples, which are published in literature to see that for your reference. And once you see that, you can click on the Reaxys example to look at the experimental procedures directly there. So I will switch gears back to the presentation mode, and I will take you to the sneak preview right now. So if you see, you have the experimental link to the actual article there where you can actually perform the experiments there. So I will switch gears back to the presentation mode where I will take you to the sneak preview, how this particular tool looks like when actually it will get integrated into Reaxys by end of June. So if you are able to see my slide, Manish, you can confirm that?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. So what this slide shows is that the user interface is the heart of the predictive retrosynthesis tools. And there was a nice article published in the Journal of Medical Chemistry, and there are authors from MIT and a lot of pharma companies captured here in it. So they have actually called upon few of the points which should be there as the features of this predictive retrosynthesis tool, which are must have, so that the tool actually saves a lot of time, has a good user interface for the users to use it to. And we have also captured that in this box here. And based on this few suggestions coming up from the pharma industry and from our collaborators as well, we have started integrating few of them already, which are in the tool there, and few are in the developmental stage as well. And in the next few slides, I will showcase those or illustrate those examples which we have already implemented as these design principles. So if you see here, if you are familiar with Reaxys or if you have used Reaxys, then there was no retrosynthesis tab available there. You have only a quick search, quick query builder, and the result and history there tab there. But now, once this tool gets integrated in Reaxys, and the users which actually subscribe to this particular tool will see this retrosynthesis tab for themselves. And then you can draw the structures as I was showing the drawing tool there. You can draw those structures. You will have all those parameters in front of you. So you can play with the parameters which I have shown, either the length and depth of synthesis, the processing time, the building blocks, and you will also able to see the published and the predicted in one go there. So once you click synthesize, it will have its own processing time, and once the result shows up, it will be like this. So if you actually choose to run a known molecule of your own interest, then you will also can compare the published route with the predicted route in one window itself directly there. So that is one of the advantage of comparison of the published versus the predicted route. This is good for the people who are in academic and they want to have a second or a follow-up synthesis to the first total synthesis or second total synthesis of compounds which are already published in the literature there. So you can utilize this particular route for your own interest or to your own advantage there, where once the route predicted route, you can execute that in the lab and you can publish that in a literature journal. Then you also can actually see here, you have the shopping cart item there, icon there, where you can click there, and you can actually go and view that in Reaxys itself, where you can purchase, you can find the rate, when it will arrive to you, what choice of vendors you can actually order that. All those options are available in Reaxys. It will take you to that page once you click this shopping cart icon there. So you can purchase your building blocks or the starting materials there, which are commercially available. Then you have in the same window, you see the number of steps for every route. This is for the published route, and the following are for the predicted routes. So you can see in the first route, there are 7 steps, 4 steps, 5 steps. You also see the overall route overview, which is a nice interactive and graphical overview, which shows the linearity or the convergent nature of the synthesis predicted or published route of the published route here. So you can easily see this is which step and what is the intermediate there. If you actually move your mouse cursor over the every circle there, which are actually the intermediates in those steps of the published route in this particular case there. So it's nice and interactive graphical route view to assess the complexity of the synthesis. You also can see the confidence score, which I already showed you in the demo, which gets rank order. So the scoring system is there, which actually allows the user to choose which synthesis route he wants to analyze to first, or does he want to really go with the less number of steps there, or does he want to go with the highest confidence score, which was available for the predicted routes there. Once you click the tree view there, you will end up in this particular page there. Now, if you see on the top, you can see all those published and predicted routes in front of you. You can toggle them in this window there. You can click either of them and it can switch the screens, the bottom screen automatically. For each predict route, which is actually when you select a particular window of your choice for a particular route, you will be able to see the complete preview of that particular synthesis there. And then for every step, you have what I was taking you click by click. For Reaxys example, you see exactly at the bottom of this page, this Reaxys examples captured there in front of you itself. They have with experiment procedure, you have the link to the actual article there. So practically, you do not have to do multiple clicks, which actually right now, if you wish to subscribe to that particular tool, you have to do the click by click way. But once this tool gets integrated by end of the next month, you do not have to do those, and you can see everything in one window there. As I was telling you, you have the actual literature reference there. For the predicted route, what is the published similar reaction which is published in the literature, and the actual reference with the experiment procedure and link to the actual article there. Right now, you only can export the synthesis of this particular predicted routes in the PDF format. But once this tool gets integrated by the end of next month, you have multiple options to export that. If you are using ELNs, eLab notebooks, you can actually integrate that into your ELNs as well. So what this tool basically gives you a rich user experience. It gives you the robust, powerful routes. Either they are the complete whole routes or the robust steps involved. But for any tool to actually be successful, you have to marry these 3 options. So you have the highest data integrity there, and also the maximum possible data. So as you have seen from Reaxys, we have got 15 million single step reactions there to build on this tool. We have best-in-class algorithm in collaboration with Professor Waller there, whose company is Pending AI, which is the 3-layered neural networks and combination of 3-layered neural networks and Monte Carlo research there. And one of the best user experience, which I actually taken you through the sneak preview. All in this place will actually enable a user to make go, no-go or informed decisions on the choice of his route. So I can say that this might not be a one-stop solution for a user there. One cannot think that, yes, this tool will give me everything there. No, it can be used as a guiding principle for your routes. You certainly need chemist intervention there to analyze the routes and choose the best one, which the predicted route has offered. And also there might be certainly chances to modify a few of those steps there, but certainly it provides an idea. So I can suggest you to use this tool more as a literature search if you want to have synthesis of molecule, rather, because you certainly do start, as Abhinav has showed at the start of the presentation, that you need certainly do a literature search with a molecule of your interest. And if it doesn't show any hits there, then you do substructure search and keep searching on for every smaller intermediate there, how you can make that. But instead of doing that so much of work and lose a lot of time, if you run that particular structure in the this particular tool, it will certainly provide you the solutions in front of you in terms of multiple routes options, and then you can analyze that and you can certainly execute those experiments in the labs. So I think I'm done with my part of the presentation, and Abhinav, if you are okay to take it from here.
Sure.
Yeah. So I will stop my screen sharing there.
Thank you. Right. So where are we at? Thank you very much. There have been lots of Q&A. I hope I've been answering some of them as we have gone along, but we'll tackle some more towards the end. In summary, I hope we have been able to show you that one, as Mandar was mentioning at the end, it is a really good idea generator. It is there to support a chemist. It is there to augment your knowledge and not replace you, because your expertise is still needed. It is super fast. You can run multiple search strategies in a quick way. It takes into account all of the published knowledge from patents and journals. So this is really important, because as human beings, we can only have limited, our brain space is limited. We cannot remember or be expected to remember everything. And I think as chemists, probably everyone may agree that, everyone has their favorite disconnections and strategies, and we all limit ourselves to those similar 10 or 15 strategies. And we try to apply those strategies on every molecule that we see. So hopefully, by taking into account all the published knowledge from patents and journals, it can give you new ideas. It provides you with scientifically robust route suggestions. And in brackets, I've written mostly because no AI tool or any prediction tool can be perfect. It will not give you 100% correct answers 100% of the time. Complex natural products are difficult for human beings. They are difficult for AI systems as well. So that's why in the bracket, there's mostly mentioned. And importantly, as a chemist, you really want to see the evidence. So there is not a black box. It gives you evidence for similar transformation on which that published or predicted route is based, so that you can make an informed decision about, yes, I think that chemistry will work, or I think the yield of that, the published reaction on which this predicted reaction is based, the yield of that published reaction is good. I think it is going to work. So this is really, really helpful based on the user experience that the customers that I have interacted with. Are we done with retrosynthesis? Not really. In the field of predictive retrosynthesis in general, it's like one of the hottest topics. You have some of the biggest groups from MIT, Stanford, who else? Microsoft, IBM, everyone working on it. What are some of the general challenges of predictive retrosynthesis? Stereochemistry. Everyone asks for this. No one has cracked it yet. And the reason for this are like two. One, definitely require more data on stereo-specific reactions. And second, we require better descriptors. So the molecular fingerprints that we use today, they're not good enough for stereo. Complex natural products, again, to train a neural networks are data hungry. And for complex natural products, I think we just need full synthesis routes or data of more of these, needs more data to be able to train neural networks. Regio and chemoselectivity, or improving regio and chemoselectivity. The current model already takes into account and respects Regeo's chemoselectivity to a certain degree. Not fully, but to a certain degree in most of the cases, yes. Can it be improved? Definitely. But the challenge right now is that the HOMO-LUMO methods that are proposed for, respecting Regio chemoselectivity are computationally quite expensive. But this is definitely it is on our agenda for working in 21, 22 as well. Ring breaking. So quite a lot of retrosynthetic tools, like if you have a complex ring system, be it bicyclic or tricyclic, or a heterocyclic ring with multiple nitrogen or sulfur atoms, etc., then that is the challenge. And an interesting approach has been proposed by Amol Thakur. He is a postdoc at University of Bern and has worked where he did postdoc with AstraZeneca. This paper came out recently. It's an interesting approach proposed, and we are investigating that. Inorganic molecules, we are not there yet. Now, this is predictive retrosynthesis. So I've seen there have been a lot of questions around yield prediction, around conditions prediction. Those are very good and valid questions, but conditions prediction requires a completely different approach than 3 and MCTS and template extraction, etc. So we are researching conditions prediction, and that's all I can say at the moment around conditions prediction. There's no one great method that has been able to predict conditions properly. What is on our roadmap for 21, 22? Definitely, I think the first thing that we want to bring in this new feature is the ability for chemists to define the bond to break or the bond to protect, because a lot of chemists, when they look at a molecule, they already have an idea that, oh, where do you want to start breaking it and what do you want to protect? This is what we are working on. Also, the ability to define what intermediate to include or exclude. Sometimes, you want to exclude certain toxic intermediates. You don't want it to go through some, difficult to handle chemical like azides in a lab. This is something that we are working on. And then there are other things, like I mentioned, Regio chemoselectivity, API support for computational chemists, if there are some here, and further improving the diversity. It gives you good route suggestions, but diversity can definitely be improved further, and possibly by having this feature there, users can like bond that will help increase the diversity. You saw in the building block library, you have Sigma Aldrich, Lab Network, and eMolecules. We want in Reaxys, you may be aware that we have launched Reaxys Commercial Substances Database. This contains more than 50 million substances and far more data around pricing, purity, availability, shipment time, etc. We want to incorporate that into retrosynthesis because commercial substances act as a stop criteria. So if you increase the library of your commercial substances, chances are you will be able to solve for more molecules. I would just like to announce one more thing before we get into Q&A. So, commercial substances, retrosynthesis, those are two other developments. The third biggest development in Reaxys is our patent expansion project. So this is a undertaking where we are expanding from 12 patent offices to 105 patent offices, and 7 IPC classes to 170 IPC classes. So it will, you will see in this presentation how this patent expansion project is transforming Reaxys, and it will transform the way you look for novelty, look for competitive intelligence information using Reaxys. So, the patent collection will be just massive in Reaxys, and that will become hopefully it will become your one-stop shop. Right. Manish, do you want to see if there are any questions, Q&A, which are left to answer?
Sure, Abhinav. And first of all, I would like to thank you and Mandar for this comprehensive presentation. I think there are many takeaway points for our audience today. And I noticed it that some of the participants were really elated to see their predicted synthesis, of the strings that they shared. So thank you for that. Now it is time to take a deep dive into the questions. And as a reminder to the audience, I would like to tell them that if you have any questions that you have not yet submitted, please enter it in the Q&A chat box, and we'll try to get through as many questions as we can. And if your question is not covered at this time in this Q&A discussion, do not worry. We will prepare a Q&A document and share it with you. So I will start with the questions, and the first question that I have, and it is a burning question, and I very much expected this question. The question is that how does the Reaxys retrosynthesis tool compare to the SciFinder software? And what are in general key differences between these two platforms? So Abhinav, would you like to answer this?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I think it's the most commonly asked question. Any AI tool or any predictive tool can be compared on those three things. One, the technology it uses, the data science that is there. So Reaxys has got 3 neural network coupled with Monte Carlo tree search where the rules are automatically extracted. I think the SciFinder tool is based on Wiley's technology. So SciFinder CAS bought the technology from Wiley, where it was called ChemPlanner earlier. And that is more human encoded rules. So those two are completely different. That's one. And then the data on which, and the number of rules and the data on which it is trained. So in Reaxys, you've seen, we've been quite transparent. It is trained on 15 million single step organic reactions from which 400,000 transformation rules are extracted. I can't comment on SciFinder, but when it was at Wiley, it was trained on basically around 3 million reactions at that point in the publication from Wiley, if I remember correctly. So that's SciFinder has not published it, like how many reactions have they trained it on. And definitely the user experience. So what will be released at the end of June, you have seen that, you get multiple routes for a given molecule. B, I've seen SciFinder, it goes back only till 4 synthetic steps. So the depth of synthesis, especially that we know that the molecules that we need to make today are quite complex. So trying to, if you think that you can synthesize a molecule in only 4 steps, it's going to be a challenge. So quite a lot of times you may not get an answer in 4 steps. Whereas here in Reaxys, you do not have that limitation. And C is that, the Reaxys retrosynthesis, it will always go back to a commercially available starting material or starting material that is already there. If you have integrated your building block library or starting material library in our tool, then, it will go back to starting material that is available in your lab. I think in SciFinder, that is not the case. You cannot choose the starting materials or the building block library. So it may go back to 4 steps and it may stop at something which is not commercially available, or it is not available in, or the synthesis route is not known. Those are the at a high level, those are the differences that I can say. I hope I've covered it.
Thanks, Abhinav. Very well answered. So
Manish, there is a similar question in the Q&A for the comparison with Cynthia, which is a Merck tool, Abhinav. So this is for SciFinder. Yeah.
Yeah. So performance against Cynthia. Yes. So Cynthia, again, it is an expert hand encoded rules based, and you have to manually write down the rules of chemistry. It is those rules are since written by experts, no doubt. But as you've seen, the explosion of literature is massive, right? So it is very difficult for an hand encoded rule system to keep up with the literature explosion that is happening. And we have compared. So I think Cynthia published a paper where they have 6 or 7 molecules. Some of them are known already. So it's really interesting because, the answer to those known molecules, you can already find in Reaxys. You do not need a predictive retrosynthesis tool for that. Number one. And then even for, I don't know if, Mandar, do you remember if there was a novel molecule in there? Or a molecule
no.
for which there was no synthesis route published?
No, they were all published one only, and they were only claiming either they have improved the synthetic, they have lowered the number of steps in the synthesis, or they have improved the yield. And as you rightly mentioned, when we check that in Reaxys itself gives better solutions to those published or the known compounds which were claimed by Cynthia.
Yep.
Thank you. So, can I move to the next question now, Mandar? Yes. Because this question has been directed to you, and the question is: can the retrosynthesis planner consider stereochemistry?
Yeah. So Abhinav already has shown that, captured that in the development stage. Yes, it is already a boiling question there to have, or people certainly will like to have or desire to have that integrated into Reaxys predictive retrosynthesis. But at this moment, the tool is not developed or trained for those to predict the stereochemistry there, because then the algorithm needs to train, and we need certainly to have those many examples in the literature for those. And as Abhinav already had shown in that presentation, that when a particular reaction is published 3 times, we actually extract that as a rule. So it's not that a particular chemistry has been published and new chemistry is there, or in terms of stereochemistry I'm talking about, and it will directly get extracted as a rule. No, it has to get into the publication at least 3 times. Then the tool will accept to extract that from that particular reaction into a rule, which then gets into the auto extraction mode where we can do that. So yes, integrate. Yes, Abhinav, you want to say something?
No. I think we have answered this question on stereochemistry. I think there are some other questions here. Manish, do you want me to pick up some? Because I see.
Please. Yeah, you are the best judge, I think.
There is a question: how can it be utilized in undergrad research and teaching? So I think the way a couple of institutions, at least that I know of in Europe, that they are using is that, so, typically, like when I was in IIT, so I graduated from IIT BHU, and when we were preparing, then, you always had this question that, okay, given this molecule, write down your total synthesis of this given molecule. And, that was our assignment. We did that. I still remember Harrison Boyd reading that. So in a similar way, what you can do is that, okay, you have a set of molecules in a group study, or you give a molecule that, okay, find the route for this novel molecule using your knowledge, using, looking in Reaxys or Boyd or SciFinder. And then, you run the same molecule in a predictive retrosynthesis tool to see the route that predictive retrosynthesis comes up with. And then you compare the two, because the only way to learn synthesis is to have that, that's what scholars do. They look at the step and they discuss that, okay, is this transformation possible? What potential mechanism there might be, etc. And that's how they are using it for teaching in 2 or 3 European institutes that I know that are using Reaxys predictive retrosynthesis. Definitely not for first-year students. Let me just be very clear. Slightly when you get slightly more accustomed to doing retrosynthesis of molecules. I think there's a question: can we mark the reaction center in the search when we have multiple functional groups? At the moment, no, but that reaction center, which is basically to be able to define make bond or break bond or protect bond, That is what we are working on, and we will definitely try to roll that functionality out before the end of this year.
So I also noticed there was one more question which was about the confidence score.
Mhm.
So yeah, please.
What I think
So
I have
it was
answered the question, root confidence score.
yeah.
So is Q&A, I hope Q&A is visible to everyone, right? So
It is. So I'll tell you what the question was. The question is that can the tool provide the shortest route, and what is the confidence that it will work?
Define what the shortest is. You know, given a significantly complex molecule, even 6 steps or 9 steps might be short. So yeah, it's and what is the confidence that it will work? At the end of the day, artificial intelligence or these approaches are trying to mimic chemist thinking in terms of mathematics, right? And it is trying to do a best approximation of expert chemist training and thinking. But it is still mathematics. And we still have to remember that it cannot be, we can try to approximate and do everything with mathematics, but it cannot be equivalent to Mandar's 10 years of working at BMS. And that's, and that's where your expert knowledge also comes in. It gives you all the information that you need to make that decision. It gives you that, okay, this is the literature precedence on which this reaction step is based. And, it gives you a degree of confidence as well, mathematical calculation, but that it is not something that, okay, you take it and you just follow it blindly. You will have to use the expert knowledge.
Yep. Thanks, Abhinav. So looking at the paucity of time, so we can pick up 1 or 2 more questions at this time. So would you like to pick up a question from the Q&A box? Or
yeah, Abhinav, there is one interesting question. Are substituent constants and reaction constants taken into account in above techniques, especially when calculating probabilities? So it's
not really. So as I was showing in my slide, so from the published reaction, everything other than the reactant and the product, everything else is discarded. We don't take any of that information into account. Conditions, yields, catalyst, reaction constants, etc. None of that is taken into account. Only, the structures are taken into account of reactants and product.
And one last question is, does the AI take recently published data in training the system on real-time basis?
Because the training is so fast, we aim to at least retrain the model with the latest data set twice a year, because we have seen that, there is not much new chemistry published going from one day to another, right? And, we can increase the frequency to once a quarter, but there's no benefit to be gained by training it every day. So we've done that assessment, and I think training it twice a year or retraining it twice a year on new data is sufficient.
Mm-hmm. And there is a question in the chat box that have you compared the similarity of synthetic routes given by Reaxys with the routes of already synthesized molecules, and how much similarity does you find? So yes and no to the answer about comparison. We did have also seen the comparison, and as I was going through the demo and letting you know about, and also Abhinav has captured that in presentation, that the synthetic stop, the root prediction stops at the commercial available starting materials or the building blocks. And as the because it's a published route and it might be a reaction out of those 15 million single steps reaction captured as a Reaxys database, you might see a few intermediates or a partial synthesis similar to what is published for that particular molecule, but you will certainly have other steps which are different from the actual published route as well. And apart from that, you will also have more other options or the more number of routes predicted for the known compounds as well. So I hope I was able to answer your question, Nutan Sharma.
Most of it. And the remaining questions we can prepare a Q&A and share it with all the participants.
I think we have answered everything almost.
Yeah. So
okay.
For all the researchers who have provided the smile string and email address, along with the smile string, we will get back to you with and get in touch with you. I think there were some questions around how can you get access to this tool and what the price is. I think someone from Elsevier team will be in touch with you, right, Manish?
Yeah.
And before we end the session, I just want to, this tool is being used extensively already. Quite a lot of pharma companies are using it. The feedback that we are getting is very positive, or we have gotten is very positive. It has been on the market for more than a year now. And you can read some of the feedback here, but as you can see, it's really user-friendly. It definitely provides robust route suggestions. It provides innovative disconnections, even with highly experienced chemists. This US pharma company, they really, most of the companies, everyone compares different softwares, right? And for medicinal chemists, they tested this and definitely they prefer Reaxys retrosynthesis over other tools. They have compared it against multiple different parameters, including, because deprotecting strategies are quite important. So, and reliability overall, etc. So you can see that, it really outperforms the competition. So the questions that you had around Cynthia, how does it compare to Cynthia or how does it compare to SciFinder? Well, I mean, I may be biased, but I'll leave you with the words of the other, companies. This company really tested it quite extensively with 17 researchers, everyone using at least between 10 to 20 molecules to test RT. Definitely, they want to choose Reaxys RT over other RT solutions. And really important that, it really helps improve the problem-solving capability of a chemist. It is there to augment your knowledge. It is there to support you so that you can focus on more exciting part of yes, what molecule should I make next, rather than thinking about doing huge amount of literature search and looking for specific disconnections. With that, I think I've covered everything.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Abhinav. And I would like to express my gratitude to you and Mandar for joining us for this informative session and addressing all the questions and queries from the audience. So before we end this webinar, I would like to inform all the participants that in next 24 hours, they will receive an email from our team to download their certificate of participation, a recording link of this webinar, and the presentation download link. Our second webinar in the Reaxys series is scheduled on 2nd June, 3 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So you can join this webinar to find out how Reaxys can help you gain competitive intelligence and help you drive high quality and fast extraction of critical information from patterns. You will find the registration link for the webinar in the chat box, and you will also get it in the post event email. We have the registration link on your screens also at the moment. Last but not the least, a feedback survey link will pop up on your screens immediately after we end this webinar. So ladies and gentlemen, we are looking forward to your valuable feedback to create more impactful researcher engagement programs in future. So thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed this session as much as we did, and have a wonderful evening ahead. Thank you, speakers, and thank you, audience. Goodbye.
Yeah, thank you all for providing this opportunity. So have a nice day, all of you.
Yeah.